So it really is crazy. It seems like that moment in that movie was, the song was written for it, but no, Matt wrote that. It was inspired by a Dylan Thomas poem called Excerpts from For a School of Witches, or From a School of Witches, years before. And we started playing it live, and the crowd just kind of had an instant reaction to it.
Welcome to the Lone Star Play Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Join me and a famous guest. We discuss their career, life, food, Texas, and everything in between. Let's get started. Yes, it's that time again. Another episode, another day, another guest. Same host, though. That's me, Patrick. Okay, thank you for joining, and thank you for listening. Just thank you. Hope you're having a great day. We have a great episode today with a phenomenal singer who you all know, okay? And you remember her band, Sixpence None the Richer. Her name is Leigh Nash. She is the lead singer. And you remember the song, remember? Kiss Me. Do you want me to sing it? I don't think you want me to do. You want me to do. You don't want me to sing that song, I promise you. She sings it so much better. So, there she goes. Something like that. That's not good either. You don't want me singing. But, wow, what a great interview. Really enjoyed. We talked about just a lot of cool stuff. Okay, so it's a really great interview. You're really going to love it. We just talked about the songs and the impact and this, that, the other, her history, what she's doing now. Just really cool. You're really going to enjoy it. So, as always, okay, so Leigh Nash from Sixpence None the Richer, okay? So, but before we get to that, a word from our sponsor, all right? Texas Real Food. The Lone Star Play Podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com and you can search your city for stores, butchers, restaurants, farmers markets, and more who are using fresh, artisanal, organic sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. Okay, it's time for the interview. But real quick, please like and subscribe if you can. Follow us. That would really help us out, okay? So thank you so much for listening and watching and supporting us and just always being there for us. Thank you so much. Tell a friend. That's what I'm going to ask you to do. Just tell a friend about the podcast. That'd really help us out, okay? All right, let's just get to the interview, okay? Here we go. Leigh Nash from Sixpence None the Richer. Enjoy. As far as Texas go, where did you grow up? Where did you come from in Texas?
I grew up in New Braunfels, but I was born in Houston, and my parents are from East Texas. So my family's been on both sides in Texas for quite a few generations.
Oh, right on. Wow, yeah, that's I grew up more up north. What musically, what was it like for you growing up? Were you always like, this is what I want to do? I got, there's nothing else that I have lined up here. Or was music always around? Were you into other stuff?
Music was around. I think just I grew up, I guess, was kind of an 80s hill country kid, which is a term for someone that I think I just made up. No, that's actually a thing. But I was one of those 80s hill country kids.
Hill country kid.
But I feel like that puts me. It kind of me.
I think that's a song. Right? I think that's a song title.
I think it is now. It's like when I hear that, I think of I was into dance halls and George Strait and Randy Travis and George Jones, of course, and Conway Twitty, Charlie Pride. I could just go on and on. Tanya Tucker was just a huge country music fan. And so I grew up listening to all these 8 tracks that my grandmother had around. And my parents had some pretty sweet vinyl of all those great classic country artists. And so that was where, that was kind of my wheelhouse. And then I met Matt Slocum on a church trip in New Braunfels. We were going to the same church just over a summer. And he ended up being my partner in Sixpence None the Richer that we started together when I was about 14 or 15. And now I'm just an old lady living in Nashville, making my country music dreams come true.
I love it. You have such great energy. I love that. Wow, I didn't realize you were so young when you started Sixpence. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt was 5 years older. Oh, he still is. And he's still doing great. He's in Nashville as well, missing Texas, I think, as much as I do. But yeah, he was 5 years older. So that kind of made things easier in that regard. I mean, as a 15-year-old, I wouldn't have really gotten very far, literally, because I couldn't drive or anything.
I'm out of here. Can I get a ride? Anybody? Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I needed a ride. Yeah. So he had a little truck and a driver's license. So
that's funny. That's, one time when I was younger, I remember I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 or something. And my grandfather was over at our house. And I got mad at my folks, said, I'm moving out. My grandfather's like, okay, go ahead, pack up your stuff. So I'll never forget this memory. He watched me pack up like a little suitcase in my room, walk out to the street, walk down the street, get to the end of the street and realize I got nowhere to go. I just turned back around and came back.
So great.
He just, it was like a funny lesson. I'll never forget that. You reminded me of that immediately when you said that.
I think every kid needs to have that. You had that classic moment.
Yeah, it was
that children's book moment, and your granddad let you have it. That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was just like opening the door, helping me pack. Like, what else are you gonna need for your trip? You need.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, all right, buddy. You want out of here? This isn't good enough for you. Okay.
Need some cigarettes?
Yeah, you need some cigarettes. Yeah, gives me a little flash.
I think
for the road.
my dad had a similar story, and I think his grandparent, one of them, let him smoke and then sit there and pretend smoke an entire pack of cigarettes, made himself completely sick. And, I'm pretty sure he ended up smoking on and off anyway, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, but it
probably taught him something.
Some of those old school lessons. No, it works. It does work.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you get started with Sixpence and you guys are singing. Did you know, like, okay, so you partner up with him to sing. Are you thinking like, okay, yeah, because we have something, or just, I want to do something?
Such a good question. That might be a question that I haven't been asked before. I really like it. I think it was both. I really think it was a good balance of both, because I really felt really impressed by Matt and his lyrics. I wasn't, I was kind of maybe trying to write songs, but he was very, very well read and was reading from, I think, some of the greatest minds like C.S. Lewis and all this beautiful T.S. Eliot poetry and Pablo Neruda. Did I say his name right? I hope so.
I don't know. It's over my head.
Beautiful stuff. Always had like a little, I remember it like a little, knapsack full of books when we go on the road. It wasn't a knapsack.
A knapsack, yeah.
But in my mind, he had a pile of books constantly. Anyway, the guy was so smart. And my point is, the lyrics he was writing were so beautiful that I felt really flattered to be the voice that got to sing them. I felt like a sort of a spiritual burden, but it wasn't a burden. Because that the other part of your question, I needed something to do. School was not, I wasn't having a great time in school. I wasn't a great student. And it's not that I just didn't like learning. I just had my mind on other stuff. Like I said, I was an 80s hill country kid. And I just was thinking about, I couldn't get my head out of what's George Strait doing now? So anyway, I needed to get out of town, and it was the perfect prescription. I mean, I got to travel the world and do something that I felt was meaningful, and I still do. And
oh, for sure.
And it's led, one thing, my mother said something to me today that I thought was really beautiful, and that I know I'll say it wrong, but she said, you don't know what you know until you know it. Like when God or whatever that thing is that lays it on your heart, until it reveals itself to you. You don't know until you
whatever. You don't know what you don't know until you know.
No, that makes sense.
My mom,
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
She's always kind of like half writing songs for me before I even get a chance to it. So that'll be on its way too.
I love that. That's so sweet. Well, hey, listen, if my mom drops little nuggets of wisdom too on me, sometimes I don't know if she knows she's doing it, but I'm always learning, something from her. That's great.
Good.
That's great.
Smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We gotta, for people that have been around, they know things.
Oh my God.
It's just how it goes, right?
She knows everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you have such respect for your mom there. So you guys start playing shows. What was the very first show your best memory of those early days, or was there like another show? Because I guess it's different for everybody, but do you remember the very first show y'all played and people responded and you were like, oh damn, guys, we got something here. This could work.
I think there was something really, there was energy that I always felt when I was on stage, which is weird because I'm not a natural. I get really nervous before I'm, in front of people or have to speak, or I guess singing comes more naturally after this year of not doing it for so long. That's all. Like it's going to seem really new again. But that's been just sort of historically, kind of hands down, wringing my hands all the time on stage. Not a real, I don't know what you'd call it, enigmatic performer or just whatever. So, but I do recall one of our first performances was at the church that we met at. And I think I had rollers in my hair because there was like a homecoming event or maybe a prom that night or something. That was one of our first shows that I remember people bringing that up. Like, man, I really was like, that is rough. Like, that's awkward. Like the girl looks like she has to go to the bathroom and her hair's in curlers. Like, what in the hell is
That's
this?
so funny.
It's a church. They're called this like really unfortunate, super long name nobody understands. So no, I don't think it was like out of the gate, these guys are going to do great, but we definitely had something interesting about us,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's real. That's a real answer though. I love that so much. The name is, I don't know, the name is long, but it's clever to me. It's clever. It's catchy. You stick with it. Somehow you do remember it for some reason. I remember the first time I hear it, I thought, that is a long name, but I remember it. It sounded cool. It made you wonder where it came from and what it was. Like I thought it was cool. I remember all my friends thought it was cool. We all thought it was cool. So that is
that's good.
But I could see in the beginning you just playing a few places, like, guys, this name isn't going to fit on the sign. What we're going to have to,
poster. Yeah. We're going to do. Yeah. So many bad jokes, like about like fill in the blank, Sixpence down the river, Sixpence. There was another band called Over the Rhine, Sixpence Over the Rhine.
Man.
Especially in Europe, and they weren't even trying to make fun of us over there. They just were like, what is this?
What? Yeah.
This makes no sense.
Yeah, but let's be real. There's so many other band names they're not getting right either. So,
I know.
Or people's name, right? So who cares? At the end of the day, it's the song, it's the music, the energy, like you said, that y'all, provided. I kind of want to dig into that a little bit more. You said you feel this energy on stage, when you're singing with the band. Can we dig into that a little bit more? What is that? Can you describe it for our listeners? Like, what does that feel like? What are you talking about?
I've heard other performers talk about it, and I feel like anybody, no matter what it is, if you're doing like what you're in the cut and you're really doing what you love to do, and it's a moment, maybe not everybody gets that. I don't know. I hope that everybody does, but as a performer and so in this line of work, that's the feeling that you're going for. I've heard surfers talk about it too. And
that's cool.
I'm not into surfing, like the physical, like my fear won't let me do it, but I totally get what they're chasing. And it's the same thing. I've heard those guys waiting for those big waves talk about that moment. I get chills thinking about it. The way I've heard it described by them is the way it feels. And it's like it's something otherworldly literally washes over you when you're, you know, in the ocean. But on stage, it's what it just feels like electricity. And maybe it is because there's, God knows, a lot of electricity on the stage. But no, it's just electric and it feels important. And I think it must be connection, like with other people. It doesn't matter if there's 10 people or there's, you know, 10,000 people. It's either there or it's not. And sometimes it's just a moment. Sometimes I've managed, not very often, but to have it for the whole thing, like from the moment you come to take the post to when you walk off. I just got chills thinking about it because that doesn't happen that often. You know, you have them, and it's all about, I think, I'm not really sure. I would love to say what it's all about because then I could always capture it. But I think it's definitely a human connection thing. And it's definitely a gift every time that, you know, I get to do it. It makes you want to do it again. Like those surfers will talk about, yeah, I totally almost died, but I would totally do it again. So.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's so cool. I haven't nearly died on stage from it. But,
oh gosh, I hope not. Right. Yeah. That's, I don't think musicians get into music for that danger aspect, as far as
the danger element.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. There's no, unless maybe the high kicks from Van Halen back in the day. Right. A homeboy. I can't remember. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. There's some danger there.
The guy splitting their bridges.
Yeah. That's funny. That's really cool to hear though about the energy. I mean, I get what you're saying now in the surfer, and you know what makes it interesting that you chose that analogy is a surfer is looking for that wave. Right. They are sitting there looking, and then that wave they do see the right one. They make the choice and they make that connection, and they're going to, you know, swim out to it and conquer this thing. And it is sort of the same thing. You got the stage is the wave, right? And the people, and you're going to go up there and conquer it. And wow, that's so, that's powerful for sure. I bet that is powerful. You know, that's great. You know what? But the people in the audience feel it too. You know, because you do feel energy when
I've
you're
seen
at a concert.
Like that.
Yeah, you get lost in it. You're having the best time. You feel like you're almost on that stage as well in a weird way. It's strange.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to give people. I say I mean, whatever experience you're trying to provide, like you're trying to create connection for yourself, but also for those other people. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes people in the audience might be feeling it when you're not. I'm sure that's happened too.
Oh, sure.
You know, as much as I've tried, you're not always in like the best place. But yeah, is Laird Hamilton a really big surfer?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be so embarrassed if that's wrong.
You're correct.
Okay, I saw it. I was wanting to quote him a while ago, and I should go back and like look at some of, because now you can look at YouTube, but there was a DVD that I bought ages ago.
Yeah, we're old school, okay, right?
So
we
I
like
could hear him
DVDs,
talk about it.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a hill country kid from the 80s. So I there's a DVD somewhere, but yeah, I got to go find those quotes again because I really connected with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love that analogy. It really is, and it does. You know. Basically the same thing you said about, you know, the fear of it but you understand what they're doing. I totally agree with that response. I never found a good way to explain it, but that's a great way to explain it. Like I would be terrified to be out there. I did try surfing one time and it was a disaster. Right. I never got up one time. It was a complete disaster. You know, I was like 19 in San Diego with my friend, you know, what are we talking about? I know what I'm doing. I didn't know any, you know, it was, but I did it. Yeah. I tried it. I mean, I definitely tried it.
Did you just try it without the board?
No, I just went in. I think we got
it without the
really?
board.
Without a board? What do you mean? You just on your,
but not with a really big wave, just like baby stuff. Like, oh, here comes a movement of water, and you just kind of get on top of it and just see what happens. Yeah. I think I accidentally got up to a pretty good speed a couple of times, and just having a little taste of it can give you the idea of, holy cow, what would that be like? So at least you tried it.
For sure.
And there's nothing stopping you. You could try it again.
Yeah, that's true. You know, it's just.
We might be great surfers someday.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'm not.
Probably not.
I don't think so. Look, I stay in my lane. I found my lane. I'm 41. Okay. I found what I like, where I stick, where my limits, but I'll always try something. I will say that. I'll always give it a go.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. You never know. It's weird. You just never know.
Yeah.
So, okay. So cool. So you're playing, I kind of want to get, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. I want to get back to the, I'm just curious about this journey of when Kiss Me came out. Was that the big step for y'all that just catapulted y'all, or was there another one? Was there another step before that? Because that was the first time I heard of y'all personally. But what does that mean? I'm just me, right? So
okay, yeah. No, I think that's a lot of people's experience with the band, was hearing that song. But no, there were a lot of steps before that. We got together in like 90, I graduated in 94. It was 91, 92 when the band started. And it wasn't until 99 that Kiss Me became what it was. And maybe 1998 when it was released. And then so there were a lot of steps in there, a lot of touring churches, youth groups, clubs, rock clubs. It's just every kind of venue you can imagine. We played some youth group. One of my favorite and weirdest, strangest memories from the road with the band was playing at this Christian college. I want to say it was in Tennessee. And this is, it's awful. I don't know what happened to this kid. I assume that she survived, but there was these Christian shows, and we were a rock band, and but that wasn't super celebrated. It wasn't. I mean, it kind of was. We weren't the first Christian rock band by any means, but definitely playing really the guitars would get super loud, and just create a big energy among young people. And we couldn't control what would happen, and these kids would mosh and create these mosh pits and stuff. Anyway, they might have been crowd surfing. I'm not sure what happened. They dropped a girl on her head. Oh. And so the next thing I knew, we were mid song, and they're guys, cut it. You guys are screwed. Y'all are the devil. Everybody was having a good time. People were getting saved. And then you started with your rock music, and now there's a girl on a stretcher. And so we were I can vividly remember standing up against the wall, all five of us, with our heads down. The kids all in this procession out the doors of the meeting hall, following the girl on the stretcher. It was this. Well, it sounds like a horrible Bible story.
Oh,
and they lifted her up through the roof. No, it was horrible. No, they didn't. But there were many. My point, that was a really long way of saying, my point is there were many stages literally on the way to when Kiss Me happened. And then that started a whole other era of, really getting to, we'd already been all over the country, and we're really very close friends and very enmeshed in each other's lives, and had all these crazy experiences over almost a decade. And then we had this hit and got to go to Europe and do all this crazy stuff. We went to Japan, and We've been to Taiwan together. In fact, I think 4 years ago, almost today, we were taking off. Trump had just been inaugurated, and we were couldn't believe what was happening. And the plane was taking off the day of it. And it just felt so weird. We were see you later. We're going to Taiwan. I don't know if we're ever coming back. Anyway, new day.
I get that for sure. Yeah, that was my birthday, actually, the day he won the election in 2016.
Elected.
Yeah, November 9th is my birthday. So it was the worst. I mean, just oh my God. I hate my birthday now. In a
things
way.
were. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, not forever.
No, for sure. Well, this time the birthday was much different. This turnaround.
Yeah.
So for sure. Well, that's right. But that's great. With the band, you guys get to go do all this stuff. Well, I'm curious how the Kiss Me happened, because it was part of. I remember seeing it in this movie. Right, She's All That. This movie. And so I'm curious, like, how, did you guys write the song for the movie, or you just wrote the song? They decided it worked well with this movie. I'm just curious. Everybody's gonna be curious about this.
Yeah, the song was written before and was already out, and then we had an amazing team of people that were promoting the record and promoting that song as a single. And I don't know. I think one of the guys that was aware of, they were like more LA minded folks, or what am I talking about? They were like LA kids, and they knew about movie soundtracks and stuff, and Harvey Weinstein's. I think was it a Weinstein movie? No, it might not have been. I'm not really sure how that happened. I know they worked really hard to get Kiss Me in the ears of the right people. So they sent multiple packages and basically had to stalk the people to like get it on their desk, enough of it to notice it. And then once they heard it, they were like, oh yeah, this is perfect. So it really is crazy. It seems like that moment in that movie was, the song was written for it, but no, Matt wrote that. It was inspired by a Dylan Thomas poem called Excerpts from For a School of Witches, or From a School of Witches, years before. And
Wow.
And we'd started playing it live, and the crowd just kind of had an instant reaction to it. So we'd already been playing it and had been playing There She Goes. That was an original song by a band called The Lost that we loved.
Y'all crushed that song. So good.
And those songs, they kind of, thank you. They just we needed something to go with this new song, Kiss Me, we had to kind of lighten up the set, because the set was really, a lot of our songs were kind of dark and like more the Revelations section of the Bible. And so we needed like hey, what's a cover we can do? And Matt, who's I think is brilliant, was like, what about the song There She Goes by The Laws? And it was like, that's just weird enough to be perfect.
It's so good. Yeah, y'all's version of it is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's such a good song on its own, but yeah, y'all did it so beautifully.
Yep.
To be honest, every time I hear that song, I think of So I Married an Axe Murder. It's the intro at the very beginning of the song. I don't know who sings that version of it, but it's I always think, for some reason, I always think of that movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yes, I can't remember right now either. No, I love that movie, and people associate that song, and then they'll say that's the first time they heard us, but I don't think we're in that.
No,
movie,
that movie came out in '93.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But they did already have, they used multiple versions of it, like by different bands. They probably used The Laws, and
that's exactly it.
They
used The Laws, and it's maybe starts with a B, maybe.
It does. I want to say the Bojangles.
The Bojangles. I want to say the Beasleys. No, that's not right. The Beasleys. Oh my God.
But something like that.
Yeah.
Let's somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle of that. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. I love that. Well, I mean, for sure. And switching movies, going back to She's All That. Yeah. I mean, I remember being in the theater, seeing that movie, that song. It does feel like it's like, and that's such a timeless song. I mean, it really is such a timeless song. I listened to it today for the first time in a really long time. It's like, wow, what a beautiful song. It almost felt like that song is a part of a beautiful stamp in time. Like it represents more than just that. Like it represents that whole time period that it happened in as well. For me personally, and I think for a lot of people as well, which is really cool to be a part of something really like crazy. That. Yeah, that's so. It's so cool.
Crazy. I never would have in a million years expected to have something like that happen, and it's been really. It still fascinates me.
No, they'll love it. I love it
because I just it's amazing.
Oh, that's great. What was like your favorite? I'm sure you did all the talk shows back then. I love asking this question. What was your favorite talk show to play? Did you have a favorite back then?
Definitely David Letterman, because I didn't think that we would get to like make it there, because we got on Conan, and Conan was definitely, you know, we were laughing the most at that show back at the time.
I love
but
Conan.
I'd always been a fan of Letterman.
Yeah,
like
me too.
I felt like I was the biggest fan in the whole world, and so getting to be there was super terrifying. And I remember, but exciting. I was very excited, but really, really nervous. And Chris Rock was the guest that night, and we were, you know, and we're huge fans of Chris Rock, and so we were just, you know, freaking out. And I don't know, something went on during Chris Rock's interview with Letterman. I think Letterman kind of cut that a little bit shorter than was expected. So when we came out and I first walked out to the microphone, he immediately pointed over at me, and we hadn't met yet. And he was like, I want to talk to you after the song. And I was like I was so excited, but I so wish, like, could you not have waited to say it after we performed? I had to sing that whole thing knowing that I had to go over there right after. And so I can't look at that performance without hearing that soundtrack in my head, like, oh my crap, you know. And he came over and walked me over to, you know, the chair, and was just so nice. And that was by far the best experience, because it was the most unexpected. Not only did we get to be on the show, but I got to have this really unexpected moment with him.
Wow.
So I still love him so much. I just have so much respect for that guy.
Me too. I've been watching his Netflix series since he went off the air. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of his, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
great mind.
What a great experience to get to sit down with David Letterman, for sure. Oh my God. I can't even imagine. That's amazing. Yeah.
It was cool.
Oh gosh, of course. And you know, you've got so many of them.
Yeah, I wish I'd had a little bit more composure. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yeah, there was Conan, and Leno, and I think we were on the Donnie and Marie show. Just true. Do you remember that was a thing?
Yeah, I remember. I do.
That was a thing. Yeah. So there were so many of them.
There really were.
That was the best.
You know, but this is pre.
Yeah.
I mean, internet was around, you know, barely, but you know, pre-social media and pre any sort of promotion like that. I mean, this is still selling CDs, you know, out doing shows, going on these type of shows and promoting your stuff. And, you know, that's where you saw bands was at, you know, on Letterman or on Conan or on Leno, right? Like you waited to the end of the night.
Right.
The band it was a big deal back then. So,
yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
For sure. No, that's
yeah.
So what have you been up to during, like, for COVID and stuff? I'm sure you mentioned earlier, like, you haven't been able to perform. So and you said it kind of feels like going back to the beginning. Is it like you feel like you have to start over again and get over that, you know, the fear of performing almost like you did in the beginning? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm having a real moment right now where I can't imagine things getting back to normal, but I know they slowly will. And just kind of trying to remember or figure out what's normal going to be, because my son just turned 17 January 9th. And so this year, you know, it's just sort of disappeared, but it's also been this really beautiful thing. I know people, you know, everybody's basically saying the same thing, I think, in one way or the other. Like, it, in a way, it's like on the timeline, maybe it would help me. I need to make a timeline and be like, okay, this was his sophomore year. Now it's his junior year. Now we're in the second semester. But it's all this time that I was thinking, no, this is going to roll out like it's always rolled out. And then it hasn't. Yeah. But I got all this really great, you know, just home time, just to really feel very, you know, connected to my nest here, which is amazing. So I'm never going to look at that and think it was a wasted year. Sure. But it's just been strange. But yeah, I'm thankful for the time. And he got home while we were doing this podcast just like 10 minutes ago. Did you even notice? No. He's like a ninja.
No, I didn't.
Figured out. I mean, he was like very Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, like crawling over things. He's I was very impressed. And he's not small.
That is funny.
Like 6'1".
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that's not small at all. That's hilarious. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it definitely has been an interesting year for sure. Well, have you been, trying to do some music maybe, or writing, or I don't know, other creative stuff, maybe even just something off the wall?
Yeah. I had sort of started to try to. I would like to someday write a book about all these experiences and things. So I bought this iPad that I'm talking to you on now, right before the pandemic started. So you would think that like by now I've had all this time to write. I have not even sat down to work on it since before, because I've just been in a state like a cat in a tree that's like can't get down is how it's felt. But I've written or co-written some songs that I'm really, really proud of, and that are I've got one coming out. I guess it's okay to talk about it on February 5th, called Good Trouble, with my friend Ruby Amonfu, who's an artist here in Nashville. She's incredible. And so we've been like doing some photo shoots and stuff like that. And I haven't done, anything like that in a while. And just sort of, it's not only just that I haven't done it in a while, it's more that it just becomes something that you're not taking for granted anymore. Like, oh, that might happen again. I think I put it out of my head. Like, well, okay, I'm done now. Just hanging it up. I'm going to fold these old bones, into a suitcase, just roll me under the bed, and it's over. And then like, you get an idea and something whispers in your ear again. You're like, oh, that seems important. Cause I definitely don't want to be, you were talking about having a lane and staying in it. I don't, if I have a lane, I would like to stay in or find or be in one where what I'm putting out means something to me, at least, and then hopefully to other people. So I've kind of put that out to God, and when I pray about the future and what I'm doing now, and just like let it be something that is pleasing to you. And that is something worth leaving behind. I have a song called Something Worth Leaving Behind. It's kind of cheesy now every time I say that, but I want that to be the case, not just at this point. I mean, I'm 44. I don't feel like that's old, but I think the music industry does, for the most part, unfortunately, when it comes to women, which I don't really know what the point in saying that is, but I guess it's just like at this point.
No, but I get you.
In my lane,
I get it.
I would like to mean something.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that stinks. It shouldn't be that. I mean, it's just be about the music and, right? Like,
I kind of feel like it's an extra pressure to like, if I'm going to stay in the room, it better mean something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that may be kind of a turned around. That might not be so healthy now that I think about it. But yeah, it just, maybe I feel like I don't have the energy, to put up with myself singing about something I don't really, believe in.
Sure.
I know that for sure after all these years, and, doing a good bit of both. Thankfully I got to do so much that I have 100% believed in and been really proud of. But a few things like you feel like you have to do it, or, I'm trying to just pay the bills kind of thing. I know that I don't have the energy for that. I would rather go find something else to do, which at this point, I mean, that's not going to make money surfing. So I gotta get to writing those songs.
Yeah. I got to get on those, hey, you could get a podcast going. People are doing podcasts. That's, have some great conversations with your musician friends. Sixpence None the podcast.
No,
I don't know. I mean,
that's a great idea. It's a great idea. You may have just helped me launch it. Sixpence None the podcast.
I mean,
Sixpence None the God.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, wow. About people losing and finding their faith, and then losing it again and finding it again.
Whoa. Hey, that's a great. That's a great. I mean, whoa, hey,
Yay!
hello. You know who I had on the podcast?
Yeah.
I had Max Lucado. Have you heard of him?
Oh, I have. Yes.
when
That's
you
amazing. That's a big.
whoa, tell me about it. He sent me a book. He sent me a personalized copy of his book, and he invited me down. I told him I wasn't a believer, and but we had this great conversation.
Yeah.
It was like, let's
Yeah.
talk, and man, we had the most awesome conversation. I have so much respect for that guy. He was so cool. But what you just said reminded me of him, because he told me this great story of his faith and what he's been through and how it's gone.
Yeah.
It's come and gone, right? Like the waves.
Yeah.
Not to go
Right.
back to it, but
Right.
kind of like the waves. It could,
Did it come back?
yes. I mean,
Yeah, it does. It does.
comes back.
I
It
think-
always comes back. You know?
I just have a hard time trusting people. And it's not always true, but I don't know. I find it seems like the most authenticity is in a person who has either really struggled to find their faith or had it and lost it, period, or had it, it doesn't just come easy, even though that's apparently like we're supposed to be like children and have faith the size of a mustard seed. That's the kind of thing that I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, and that's what I grew up hearing. And so I don't know. I guess that would be like a nice thing to admire in a person, but I find myself more attracted to voices like Richard Rohr. Have you heard of Richard Rohr?
No.
It'd be so cool. You guys should try to get him on your podcast.
Oh, I'm gonna look that name up.
Is it always people from Texas?
Yeah.
Is it always Texas people?
Yeah, I mean, they have to have a connection to Texas. They don't necessarily have to be born here, but some sort of connection to Texas in some way.
I love that. I'm so glad. I'm so happy that I'm from Texas, so I can be on this podcast.
Me too. Are you kidding me? This is why I love doing this. Look, I'm a chef originally. We started doing this podcast a little over a
Great.
year ago. So I sort of changed gears in a way, exploring a different part of myself and taking my experiences to do this, to talk to people. But I have no training in this, for instance. I just more from just being in restaurants and have traveled and lived in other countries, and you just learn to communicate with people and get along, and so
you get to have a genuine interest in people
exactly
to talk to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So look, it's all
cool.
possible to do. Not necessarily pivot to, I'm not saying this, but whatever you want to do. But look, people are doing podcasting, and you do have something to podcast about 100% that people would want to listen to.
Yeah.
That is true. I am throwing.
If I can put up with myself long enough.
Hey, if I could do it,
I'm very interested in other people. Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, I'm all about the person coming on. That's what I love about this, is that I get to talk to just so many interesting people, and they're different every time. Different story, but I learn from them. Selfishly, I'm taking all these little nuggets of wisdom they're giving, right? Like it's like this just unbelievable experience to get to do that.
That's great. I know. I bet. That's really cool. And you get to do it from Austin. I'm so jealous.
Absolutely. Yeah. From Austin. Yes. Yeah. This is a great city. I'm sure you performed here a lot. It's a great city here.
Yeah.
Changing a little bit.
Yeah.
They say that every year.
It is.
That's,
it's what a little bit.
They say it's changing, but they say that every year. Right. So every year they go, well, remember last year it was so much better. Right. It's like, it could go forever. We could just go down to
last year, it was so much
that's what they say every year.
It'll never be what it was in the 80s.
Yeah, never. 80s hill country girl. Well, look, I'm an 80s. I guess I would be an 80s DFW Metroplex boy. Right. That would be my
I got it.
This is this is a new thing. I'm gonna describe people as you realize you've done that.
Yes.
You've opened the door.
Oh, you're a hill country. You're a
80s
90s hill
yeah,
country.
80s hill countries.
You kind of start
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I was born in 76, but I didn't want to say 70s Hilk. I didn't want to like go, I feel like the truth is really the chunk of my upbringing was in the 80s.
Me too. I'm with you. Right. I was born in 79. What do I remember about the 70s?
Yeah.
Zilch. Like
I was 76. Yeah.
That's right around the same Gen X, I guess, the last of it. So okay, so what you said, you have some stuff coming out, maybe you said you had the other song coming out. Are you trying to plan any shows for the rest of the year? I'm curious or you're just like, you know what, every artist I talk to is a little different. Some are like, you know what, I'm waiting till literally some have said I'm waiting till 2022 to even begin. Some are like, nope, I got to get on it. Others have bands to play or to pay or this or that so I'm curious what.
Yeah, of course. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of waiting. It's been a weird year. I haven't heard from my poor booking agent. I would imagine that she's had to pivot in unbelievable ways. The music industry is suffered enormously in artists and venues. So as venues start to, open up, if and when they do, and I pray they will, and they will, then I guess when they start booking, that's when I'll try, hopefully somebody will be like, oh, think about me. But I do have music that'll be coming out in the meantime. Some really cool stuff that I'm still too afraid to talk about because I'm afraid it won't happen. I don't want to jinx it. But you'll know it when you hear it. You'll be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. And then if you don't hear it, you'll be like, oh,
that's what she was talking about. Yeah.
No, but the song Good Trouble on February 5th, that will be something to look forward to. I'm awesome. Very excited Good about trouble. It. I'm very proud of it.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Have you been doing any live streaming or trying to connect that way? Has that been of any interest to you?
No, it's weird. I've done it just for literally out of boredom a couple of times. I thought, I wonder if I did a live stream and just had a conversation or did a Q&A, if anybody, I wonder if the other people are bored too. And quite a few people jumped on, and it was fun to answer questions. But then after a while, it just becomes, it's so self-focused because it's not.
They want to hear from you. They want to hear about your stuff. Nobody wants to hear about Fred's, what Fred did on Tuesday. At first, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. But. At first it felt kind of exactly. I'm interested in people. Oh. But I don't know. I feel like so many people are filling up the space with their live stuff that, again, it's my instinct to. I'm a little bit of a shrinking violet. But I don't think that's always a bad thing. Just kind of won't speak up until maybe I feel like I have something important to say or to throw in there.
Yeah,
I've gotten in trouble a few times over the last year with all the racial and political stuff going on, and you kind of stomp your feet a little bit too loud and you get your hand slapped, and then I'm quiet for a while on the internet, Instagram shamed, and so I've tried to keep it a little more neutral. I hate that.
Yeah, it's a tough time. You're right. It's a sensitive time out there. Definitely have to be careful with. What you say a little bit. I mean, to some extent. I think right. Yeah, if your heart's in the right place, but I mean, for sure, for certain people, online. I mean, I'm not in that position. Nobody's looking at what I'm saying and looking at it. But for someone like yourself, yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine honestly having that hang over me. Because
it's just, I just can't imagine. I didn't think it would be that big a deal. Yeah. I can't imagine being the kind of person that would get that mad over something I had to say.
Oh, I agree.
Because I move on.
I agree.
100 times a day, I see ridiculous things.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not. We went to high school together. That doesn't mean I have to comment on the post. And I've actually gotten off of Facebook because of that. Because I've had friends from high school say terrible things like, "Wait, I thought I knew who you were." I'm like,
I guess I'm super liberal now, but I don't know what's that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been there.
Like conservatives
I get it.
going all the way around to being liberal. I don't even know what I am anymore. So.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a funny way to look at it. That you're right. That's an interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, you're right. It's scary. I mean, look, we didn't grow up with social media or any of this stuff, so it's not like we were, in school and we're able to manage this, right? Like growing up, it just was sort of like thrown in and like, oh my God, I don't even know what's going on. How do we do that? You start treating it like real life, but then other people are not, right? Because they say things they would never say to somebody's face on social media, right? And that's for somebody that didn't grow up with social media, they don't understand that too much. Well, maybe not. I guess there are some people that are doing it, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Like we may run into each other again, pal.
Yeah.
And, you're going to regret that.
Yeah. It's like,
chances are, I forget. No.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. Well, gosh. Well, look, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. I got to say, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed speaking to you, and this is going to be such a great episode for our listeners. Like, for real, they're really going to love this episode. Is there anything anything I didn't mention, or anything you want to plug, or anything, give us your social media handles if you want.
No. Oh yeah. Well, I'm at Leigh Nash on Instagram, and I forgot what I am on Twitter, but somebody hacked my Twitter page a long time ago, and so I don't have it anymore.
Oh no.
So, but I did. We made a new Twitter page. So, but I just have been. I worked so hard for that last one, and I had like 7,000 or 8,000 followers. And somebody took it, and now I've got like 200 followers, and I've been terrible. That's so trashy of me to be like, well, I just guess I won't post there anymore. But I don't know. I'm pretty engaged on Instagram, and it's at Leigh Nash. But the only thing I would like to plug is Little Mexico in Austin. So everybody go eat there. It's my favorite restaurant.
Bam. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes.
You like it too?
Yes. And I love that you wanted to plug some food. I love that too. I'm all about supporting my industry, especially right now, just like musicians, restaurants, music. They're just like really going through something very similar right now. So for sure.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I know it.
Really
I know. There's so much great food to be eaten and talked about down there. So y'all keep fighting a good fight. I'm glad you're doing this podcast. It's awesome. So thanks for including me.
Oh gosh, no, the pleasure was all ours. Again, thank you so much for taking the time and for giving us this wonderful episode that our listeners are gonna love. I'm really excited, and really
absolutely
best of luck of this new new song coming out, and just with the rest of this year, with hopefully everything will get back to that. It's just a matter of when, right? So for sure, best of luck with all that, and my best to you.
Stay healthy.
Yes.
All right,
well.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leigh.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
The Lone Star Plate podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com and you can search your city for stores, butchers, restaurants, farmers markets, and more who are using fresh, artisanal, organic sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For more information, go to thelonestarplate.com. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Until next time.